All right, so this week we're going to be making concert tour posters, and I know some of you are going to want to do this warped Fillmore shape poster, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I have an example here, and I just copied this for reference. All right, so I'm just going to use it as a background image, and I'm going to lower the opacity. And let's say I wanted to replicate something like this. You can either use it on your document like this, lower the opacity and trace over it and change the names and the words, or you can just have it off to the side, maybe on another tab, and go back and forth to see, kind of replicate it. All right, so what you're going to do is I'm going to start with this circle in the center. So to do that, I'm going to go to my shape tool, go to the ellipse, change the fill to no fill and no stroke. I'm going to draw out a circle. If I hold Alt and Shift, it's going to draw a circle from the center. So again, I don't want this to be exactly like this one. I just want to kind of get an idea of how this one was created. All right, so to do this, what I'm going to do is type in the words. So if I bring up the opacity, this was for the Grateful Dead, Jefferson Airplane, the Jaywalkers. Let's see, I'm not sure who else. All right, so in the center, it's got the date, the location, Fillmore Auditorium, Friday, 9 p.m., Saturday. Okay, and in San Francisco. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and lower this back down. Obviously, you want to find a font that matches, right? I have not found a groovy font yet. If you find a font that you want to use and you cannot extract it and get it loaded into Photopea, send me the link to the font and let me know that you want to use it for your project. I will extract it and put it in a Google folder and share it with you so you can install it into Photopea. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to install it again. I'm going to download a font and install it. I'm going to go find one, so I'm going to pause it really quick. Okay, so I came across this Fillmore font from 1001 Free Fonts. I'm going to go ahead and download it, open up the folder and extract it. Remember, you guys might not be able to do the extraction part, right? So that's the part that I have to do for you, and then I'll save this file and upload it to Google Classroom for you as a file. So I'm going to go ahead and install this into Photopea. So I'll go to Load Font, find the font that I just opened, and select it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to my font, type in Fillmore. It's right here, and I'm going to type the date. So we're going to go with, I want it to actually be above that, text layer. So let's see if that works. I don't want to type inside the circle. That's not what I'm going to want to do. So I'm going to actually click outside of the circle. I'm going to make my font kind of bigger though. So I'm going to click right here, and it's really small. I'm just going to type May 6th and 7th. All right, now that it's there, I can change the size. Let's make it like 350. Still too small. Let's go with 550. Maybe a little bit bigger. All right, that looks good. So what I need to do now is warp it to fit inside the circle. So what I'm going to do, so know that once you warp your text, once you rasterize it, you are not going to be able to go back and change it. You need to make sure that you have all of your changes made and done, all of your edits, make sure everything's spelled correctly before you do this next step. Okay, I'm going to rasterize this text layer. Right click and go rasterize, and now it's uneditable. I'm going to go to edit, transform, and go to warp. This is going to give me these anchor points in here, and this is going to allow me to warp my text to fit within this circle. So I'm going to start with the corners and drag them in to, and you can see it's already taking some shape, right? It's already changing, warping. And I'm just going to make it fit within here. Once you get to a certain point and you lose those anchor handles, it's really hard to see them. So you may need to zoom in and just be aware that photo P may run slow. So when you're doing this, make sure that you're saving your font or your work often. I probably could have made this text a little bit smaller. It probably did not need to be that large. But I did. So we're going to have to stick with what we have. So you're going to use these anchor handles to manipulate the shape of your text. Another option you could do is one letter at a time. So the higher up you pull these anchor points, or handles, I'm sorry, not anchor points, they're handles, the higher up that arc is going to go. So now it's starting to take some shape. I lost that center anchor point, and I'm not sure where it went. That's my only concern. I think this one might be it right here. So I can kind of round it. There we go. There it is. All right, so may take some manipulation. So depending on the shape that you want, this one has kind of a wave to it. I'm not even going to attempt, I don't know, maybe I will, to do that. So that is how you warp your text. And then the next one will be, I'm going to hit, now once you hit enter, or once you get off of that, you are not going to be able to go back and rewarp it. I mean, you can rewarp it, but it's not going to bring those same controls back up that you just had. It'll give you brand new control points, which might actually help if you lost some points like I did. All right, so the next one I'm going to do is the bottom part. So let me see my shape. So I'm going to go ahead and click right here, and I'm going to type, let's go ahead and type the date. I don't want to put it inside. Remember, I don't want to put my text inside my circle. I want to put it right outside. We're going to type Friday. And if you want to change the color, this would also be a good time to do it. You want to make it a different color. So think about the colors that they used for the tour, or maybe like every tour uses different colors. They have different themes. So thinking about Taylor Swift, she does, she had her red tour, and now she's got the Lover tour that's going on next year. And those are like pinks and blues and things like that. So if you think about the Grateful Dead, they used blues and reds and whites in their work, lots of greens, things like that. So I am going to go ahead and just do the word Friday. I'm going to rasterize that, edit, transform, warp. And now I can start warping. I'm going to start with, let's start with the center and see what happens. I think, man, I really have to zoom in on that one. So zooming in, I grabbed the center points rather than the top point, which is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to grab this one. All right, so grabbing these handles, you're able to manipulate your text. Do you want to leave a little space between the words? That's cool. That's looking really cool. So do you want to like warp one side and not the other? So there are anchor handles inside that you can use to kind of give it a weird warped look as well. All right, so there's, let me round this one kind of. Everything else is kind of round. Okay, so then I would continue and I would do Friday 9 p.m. So is the time. And do I want to change this? I'll just leave it 9 p.m. And again, you'll rasterize, right click, rasterize, edit, transform, warp. And I need to make sure that I put it in the place that I want it before I actually start warping it. I think I want to make it bigger. So the only way I can make it bigger now that I've rasterized it is hold as Control Alt T to give me these transform handles. And then I can stretch it out that way and make it bigger. Okay. And then I can right click and go warp. So how do I want this to look? Let's see. And I just kind of want to give this one a bubbly feel. I don't want it to do too much of a warp. All right, that looks good. The next one is going to be Saturday. And obviously I'm not copying exactly how they have it. Let's move this over. I may just put SAT because I think if I did the whole word, it would be a little big. So let's make this, oops. Let's rasterize it. Control T, Alt T to make it a little bit bigger, just a little. Actually, let's not. Oops. There we go. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Warp, and start warping. Okay, so it takes some time to learn to use the controls, but once you learn them and you start warping and dragging things, it all just kind of works out and falls into place. And start having fun with this. So if you want to give it like a wavy look, you could. All right, so let's zoom out and see what we've got. Wow, that looks really cool. So I think I'm liking it. All right, so I would just continue to fill it in with different words. You're going to have a lot of text layers, okay? So just make sure to keep that in mind. If it says like layer 1 or layer 2, then there's nothing on it usually. So to do the outside text, what I could do is maybe type on a path. If I clicked on, let's see if I can do this. And I don't know if this will work, but we'll see. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make my circle again, or bring up my circle, click on. So I'm typing on a path. Remember how we've done this before. Make my text bigger, change my color to something different, and we'll type Jefferson airplane. Oops. And I'm going to go here and rotate it just a little bit. and I want it to fit right over there. All right, so now I'm going to rasterize this. Go to Edit, Transform, Warp it. So I typed on a path on the using the circle for the Jefferson airplane. So again, it's all about experimenting with these handles and seeing what happens when, oops, I don't know what happened. Rasterize, edit, transform, warp. I think I should have not typed on a path. So let's try it without typing on a path. Let's just type out the word. Oh no, what did I do? Okay, there we go. So I'll type out the word right here. And use the warp tools. Rasterize, edit, transform, warp, and then warp it to fit around the circle. That might be my best option. So I think I actually need to move it down here. And then I can start warping. So the bigger area you are trying to warp, the longer it's going to take. And as you can see, the more layers that I put onto Photopea, the slower my computer is getting. And I have a pretty decent, laptop. It's not bad. So you guys are not the only ones who have issues with Photopea. All right, so this is getting a little ridiculous. I feel like I want to go back and start this one over. I'm not liking how the transform controls are looking. I feel like I grabbed the wrong control handles again, and that's going to happen sometimes. If you're not zoomed in close enough. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. It's just taking a minute to actually load. So it's just a matter of manipulating your text and getting it to fit into the space that you want it to fit into. All right, so that is essentially how you warp your text and create that Fillmore style poster. You can also add images on here, make them crazy colors, make them fit with the vibe of the concert. And all right, so when you're all done, let's see what it's looking like. And I feel like as you guys do this, you're going to start looking back. You'll step back from it and you'll be like, wow, that's pretty cool. Of course, it's not going to be perfect your first time, but you're still learning, and I can't wait to see the cool effects you guys come up with. All right, sorry for the long video. I just wanted to make sure I covered everything for this process.